What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and these are my NBA DFS contenders, but it's a two-game slate. So these are my favorites, my top 5 plays of the day for Monday, August 31st. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Dennis Schroeder, Giannis, Andre Iguodala, Steven Adams, and then Brook Lopez on the outside looking in. Who will be the top 5 plays for today? It is time to find out. Coming in number 5, I'm going to Danilo Gallinari. 5,500 on FanDuel, 6K on DraftKings, a 1.65x multiplier on SuperDraft. I realize Game 5 did not go very well for Gallo or for the Thunder in general. I expect him to rebound a bit here. With Russell Westbrook back, it makes me a little nervous about the Gallo at the 5 lineup, or Dort at the 5. It doesn't really matter what you call it. The non-Steven Adams, Nerlens Noel center minutes. Just because Russ is going to be trying to get downhill so much, getting into the paint, do you need that rim protector? I think they try to match them stretch for stretch. I'm giving Gallo 31 minutes, 23% usage. We're talking 18 points, 5 rebounds. It's a little bit of a pace-up spot for Oklahoma City, which should help. But at some point in time, I just expect Gallo to play better. 0.84 fantasy points per minute while he's been in the bubble. That's quite a bit behind where I have him for today, which is a 0.91 guy. We're talking about 35 fantasy points in a GPP. I think Gallo can get there. I'm hoping Oklahoma City can stave off elimination and get this one to a Game 7. Coming in number 4, a guy with a kind of not great playoff history. It's Eric Bledsoe. He's 5,800 on FanDuel. Love him there. Number 2 overall. 5,900 on DraftKings. 1.6x multiplier on SuperDraft. Not all that ideal. I'm expecting the minutes to slowly creep up. I gave Bledsoe 29. We're talking about a neutral usage guy, 20%. It's just a little bit of everything. 13 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, maybe a steal or 2. They're going to need Bledsoe if they want to keep continuing through these playoffs. Now, look, I expect the Bucks to make it through the Heat with very little issue. I think they're a fantastic team. But they're slowly going to ramp these guys up. I think it starts now. So 29 minutes for Bledsoe would be fantastic. He's at 1.05 fantasy points per minute over his last 30 days. That's what I'm looking for. Much like Gallo, we're talking about needing like 35, 36, 37. You get that out of Bledsoe today, and you're feeling pretty good. 5,800 on FanDuel for a point guard. Love it. Coming in number 3, including my number 1 on FanDuel, it's Robert Covington. Now, I don't love him nearly as much on DraftKings and SuperDraft. I think there are more efficient ways to go about your salary. But you have to play 2 power forwards on FanDuel, and that means you're going to have to make some concessions. I think Covington is the best of the bunch. I think the $5,600 price point is fully reasonable. And I like him on the floor more with Russell Westbrook. He's out there to try to play some team defense. Going to need that a little bit more when Russ is out on the floor. I'm giving him 31 minutes. That's the biggest tricky part here. His minutes could go anywhere from, 28 to 38. You're hoping to get him on the high side, but if I give him 30 or 31, he's still an elite value for me at 5,600. This is another guy that's going to do a little bit of everything. 11.6 boards. But 3 stocks in 31 minutes, 1.7 steals, 1.3 blocks. If that trends high, you're going to need Robert Covington. He should have no problem hitting a GPP goal in the mid-30s. Now up, number 2. He's 3rd on FanDuel, 4th on DraftKings, 7th on SuperDraft. It's Goran Dragic. 6,500 on FanDuel, 6,600 on DK. Playing monster minutes. I'm giving him 33 here. I wouldn't be surprised to see that number creep higher than that. 19, 6, and 4. If you can get a steal, that's great. He's been fantastic since he's been in the bubble, since they've sort of turned him loose. 1.2 fantasy points per minute over his last 30 days. I'm only projecting him at 0.97, and I still think he's my second best play. If Dragic has taken some sort of mini leap as a fantasy producer, this is going to be a great spot for him. He's underpriced if this is the new normal. 1.19 is a really big number relative to the rest of the league. I'm really intrigued to see how well he can get to the rim. This is a scary spot for him in that regard. But for me, with them largely removing Kendrick Nunn from the rotation, this is Dragic's team at point guard. I expect him to go crazy. So 33 minutes, my number 3 FanDuel guy, my number 4 DraftKings guy, just get the Dragon. All right, finally, coming in at number 1 is, hit that thumbs up if you can, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, number 10 on FanDuel, number 1 overall on DK, and at number 3 on SuperDraft with a 1.45x multiplier. This is a minutes play. Shai is as good of a bet as anybody to play 40 minutes today, and seeing it go well north of that would not be much of a shock. When you can get that many minutes, you have to pay attention to these guys. Now, Shai is sort of the opposite of Dragic so far, at least in the bubble. 0.88 fantasy points per minute, quite a bit below where I have him for today at 0.97. Keeping an eye on his ownership will be the key part for me, depending on how I want to play it in a GPP scenario. But if Shai plays like he played last year and this year, basically anytime that's not the bubble, we're talking about a guy that's like a 1 fantasy point per minute guy. That means that if you think he plays 40 minutes, he gets 40 fantasy points. At his salary, you're looking for 44 to 45, which means just a slightly better than average game for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes him essential in a GPP lineup, particularly on a 2-game slate. So if you're asking me who my number 1 play for today is, it's got to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All right, everybody, that wraps up another Contenders, another favorites. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. You know all the good stuff. We've got content throughout the day, whether it's baseball strategy, basketball strategy, dual live before locks, PGA strategy show. Actually, I don't think it's called the strategy show. It's PGA first look show. Check that out as well. We've got a ton of content. You definitely want to see what we're putting out on a day-to-day basis. So I will post my top 10s for each individual site on my Twitter account at Josh Engleman. Follow me there. Best of luck today, and I will see you again tomorrow morning.